What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Pendejadas. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to another motherfucking episode. ¿Cómo están, amigas? Los extrañamos mucho.
Hopefully you didn't miss us too much.
But if you guys haven't noticed just yet, we don't just have one guest, but we have two guests.
Woo! Wait, who's the first guest?
Bob.
It's Billy.
Oh, sorry. I forgot his name was Billy.
Oh, Billy.
Bob was the previous murderer. Just kidding.
But then we have our second guest, my boyfriend.
My bestie,
Alannized.
¿Cómo estás?
Pinche pendeja, vete la verga. Pinche pendeja, mama verga. Pinche pendeja.
Can I just say that I was dying to come back on your guys' podcast?
No
I know. I feel like we need to just have a podcast where it's all three of us.
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
I'm like, let's just cancel this show and start a new one.
I'm like,
Who
new one
wants
coming
that?
No, but on a real note, I feel like we have been wanting to have you on the show for a fat ass minute, but siempre tiene que ser a perfect moment, because if it's not, then what's the point of having you here?
I feel like this is the special guest aspect. If not, it'd be a regular.
Yeah, or
You know
if
what I
not,
mean?
you'd be like our co-host.
Triple.
Yeah, it would really be that.
We'd have a three-way here.
Called a tri-host?
A tri-host?
A tri-host.
I think that makes sense. I think that makes sense. On a real note, though, the last time that you came, you were over 120 pounds, honey.
No, that was.
Oh no, you weren't.
No.
You were just barely
Post-op.
post-op. How long? 6 months?
The last time I came on Let's Talk Pendejadas, I was talking about my weight loss. I think I was maybe 6 months, maybe I don't remember.
5 or 6 months.
I think it was 6 months.
Just kidding. It was literally the day before I got my procedure, the balloon.
Oh, yeah.
So that was in April.
In April. That makes it November, December, January, February, March, April. I was 5, 6 months. 5 months. Now I am entering my 10th,
Do you remember what weight you were?
I don't, but I can give you an exact weight. I have a little app.
Let's see.
I have a little app. Si me preguntas qué día, yo te digo el peso, mi amor.
Exactamente.
Como me siento que comía.
Abril 14?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I was for sure 40 pounds more the last time I was on this.
You know what's crazy?
On April 19th. No, wait. When did you get your surgery?
On the 11th.
Okay, so on April 10th, I was weighing 194. I'm weighing 168. So it's a good 30, 40.
You know what's crazy? I
difference?
never thought, when we were filming that, I never thought you were, overweight at that moment at all. We all thought, oh my God, you're so skinny.
You know what's so crazy? No, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I remember in our birthday party.
Mm-hmm.
Our birthday party, yo me acuerdo that I had just hit the 200s. I think I was 199 the morning of the birthday. The next day I was at 197 because I drank a lot and I fucking just had a lot of liquids. Mm-hmm. But the day of our birthday party, I felt the best I've ever felt. I felt bomb. I was oh my God, this is the skinniest I'm ever gonna be. Bitch, 4 months later, I've lost 40 more pounds.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and you look amazing, friend. You look so
I feel like it's been so long, but it's been so short. I feel like our life is so quickly that it doesn't feel like you were ever 40 or even 180 pounds of a difference. I'm putting more. I'm 3,000 pounds.
53 days.
No, for real. But you know what's crazy? Literally, it's already going to be 6 months that they're going to remove my balloon. So
literally a week,
in literally a week.
It's crazy.
It's crazy because I feel like, when I look back at those videos, you can tell a difference of how slimmed out my face looks. I feel less, for sure, a body, I noticed for sure, I don't think I've ever mentioned it, but when I would be in your car, Danny, remember when I would be bitch, I could barely fit.
Yeah.
I'm literally spilling over onto the middle part, once you put the cups or whatever, I was spilling over already that. And now when I sit in there, I'm oh, okay.
There's space.
I feel good.
Yeah, you're who wants to come in? We can put a fourth person.
Literally.
You're getting your balloon taken off, and then me and Danny are for sure on another fitness journey. I feel we're all gonna be on fitness journeys
for now on,
but different. Because I feel mine and Danny, if you guys don't follow us or if you guys don't keep up with us, we've been going to the gym.
Yes,
because we want to bulk up. So that's been a journey of its own. How have you been feeling about that, baby?
Yeah,
I don't know. I just feel it's been I can't believe it. I still can't believe that we did this, because not too long ago I was like, girl, I am not gonna be skinny ever again.
You know what?
Like I kind of just like accepted the fact that I was gonna be fat, and I was okay with that. Like as long as I had my man that was happy, as long as I had my friend, I was like, I don't give a fuck about that.
We would literally have conversations of like, wow, we're gonna eat this, we're always gonna eat that. Like we can't wait to go to this restaurant. Now it's just like, oh.
I'm like,
are we gonna eat today?
How many meals are we eating?
Me and Danny are actually starting to like we're filming on the 1st, no, the 2nd, and this is our 3rd month of weight training.
Of weight training,
so
I know.
We
all look the same.
I know.
There's no muscle growth.
I
think
you guys can tell a difference.
BS aside, my fucking like arms were kind of flappy. I mean, they still are, but like now I can't take flight, bitch. Like now it's just like a jiggle,
and you're like nobody could board this plane.
Flappy bird.
But like I feel like now it's tightened up, so I'm excited to see where we fucking are in like 6 months.
The spiders are and this motherfucker don't want to get me
out. Tell me why, like I'm over here fucking giving a bomb ass speech and I just see Danny like like all fucking battling his fucking demons.
No, dude, this was like
because no joke, the spider thingy like back here does feel like real spider webs. So when I was putting it up, I was freaking out low key because I was like, oh my god, it feels like. I'm spiders.
Like Billy's flirting with me.
I'm like, tell Billy to move.
Billy.
Normally, we always do talk about our week. So I know that we've actually had a very hectic, like just a month. And, you know, we're so blessed with all the busyness.
Yeah.
But something that I can't just get off of my head is how, like, crazy and like how many emotions through this week we've had. Like it's just been kind of like a journey, and something that I kind of remember was kind of like the thing before you filmed with Melly. Like the kind of like how were you feeling during the week, because that was kind of like the beginning of your week.
My week, okay, so I feel like my week last week I had a really like emotional, physically and just mentally draining week. Like I feel like last week was definitely one of my hardest weeks. First of all, I wasn't feeling good for like the first 3 days of the week. For some reason, I feel like I'm low on vitamins. So I was feeling very nauseous. Anytime we were in the car, like I was just feeling super débil. Like no quería hacer ni vergas. You guys, para decirles que it's not super normal for me to take naps during the day. Like I almost never take naps during the day.
You literally used to take naps before, and like after you got your like weight loss, you stopped because you've been more like energetic, more up and down. But when you were like taking your naps like that, I was like, what the fuck? You guys, like
I kid you not, I probably took like. During the day, I was taking like 2 naps throughout the day, and it was really a little concerning because I feel like at first I'm sure Danny was like, "Oh, he's exaggerating. He just wants me to go upstairs again." No, like you.
I'm like, he just wants the fucking walk 3000.
No, and then I feel like when Danny realized that he's like, oh, he's actually going upstairs, he doesn't care if I stay with him or not. Like that's when I feel like you noticed.
Yeah, no, I feel like it started like kind of. Every single time he feels like this, sometimes I feel like, girl, like you don't even work a construction job, but then it's just consistent, and it's like, oh shit, I feel like your mood, and then after, like you just kind of like you're like, you're like slumped, and you can't even feel like wanting to even get up to get like a water, and you're just like. And then you still had to work, so it was even more difficult on top of that. And then just like the emotional like roller coaster that you had before filming, and then after, and then during the upload of it was just insane.
Everything just
I'm like Danny to say my week before I even get there. No, but what I'm saying now, that's where I was going. So I had like the 3 like really big days where I was physically like drained, and my body just felt like and then throughout the week I had like multiple anxiety attacks. Like Danny said, last week I uploaded an episode with Melly. If you guys haven't gone to see it, go watch it. But I opened up about something that I've never opened up about, and like you said, it gave me a lot of anxiety. It gave me multiple anxiety attacks, to be honest. Even when we're at fucking
just know that he had like anxiety attacks even before the video was edited. So even he had an anxiety attack during the filming of it. So it was just like a lot going on during that, like that whole like process, that it was just like, what the fuck is going on during this week? And you know, we're all 3 of us are all the time together. So when it comes to one of us having that anxiety, we're like, fuck.
Like, what do we do?
Like, is there anything that we can do to do it? But it's just, you know,
it's a lot. No, go. No. Well, I was just saying because, like, you know, since of course I work for you or whatever, seeing the behind the scenes, like, I could just see and tell, like, oh shit, like, this is a moment, all right, this going smooth, but like, you could tell that you were anxious, you could tell that you were like having a little moment and stuff, and I was like, oh my god,
I
like,
for sure did get anxiety even before filming because, well, not even before filming. So I had Melly come on the show. She told me what she wanted to talk about. You know, I got some questions down. And then when it came down to filming, I don't know, me nació to open up to. I was like, okay, fuck it. But as I was opening up, like, I started getting a really bad anxiety attack. If you guys don't know, practically I opened up for the first time on social media about being undocumented, which fucking feels weird to say like out loud, especially like online. Oh, me getting anxiety.
No, it's okay. Breathe, friend.
Anyway, so when I was filming with her, I got an anxiety attack. Whatever. That was last week. Then we went on your trip.
Yeah.
And I kind of forgot about it. When we came back, I was like, oh shit, I got to start editing it. Yeah. So then I got an anxiety attack before editing the episode because I didn't want to remember what I said.
And you know what? And even that, because I just cut your videos or whatever just to make sure to alternate the like scenes and stuff. And like, I noticed that you would come to the computer more often. Like, hey, does it sound good? Hey, how does I sound? Hey, how does it look? Like, you were just very asking. I'm like, Fred, it's okay. Like, don't worry. Like,
I'll tell you when it's done.
I'll tell you when it's done. But I could tell like you were just anxious and just having that anxiety of like, oh my gosh, like hopefully everything turned out good, or like everything like just, you know.
Mm-hmm. And then my last anxiety attack, I got it at Universal Studios. You remember when I started shaking out of nowhere? Because we were at Universal and we were drunk, and that was the night before the episode was going to go live. And I remember I was at a maze. I remember it fucking clearly. I was inside of the maze, and for some reason my anxiety took over, that instead of worrying about what was going on in the maze, like se me entró the thought of like, oh shit, like your episode goes up tomorrow. And it sounds fucking cheesy because they're like, bro, like, why are you making it a big scene? But to me, like, for a lot of years, which we'll get into it later, for me, like,
it's a lot.
Talking about it was a big deal for me. You know what I mean? So I for sure got an anxiety attack. But yeah, my week was hectic. How about you guys? Because I feel like you guys
we're all in the same boat. It was just a lot. So it was just a lot in general. Like, we had a lot of fun at the Kali Uchis concert.
Stop.
So it was just like a lot of like, dude, I can't forget about the Kali Uchis concert. Remember, you guys? We told you guys that we were gonna go. Well, we're back from the Kali Uchis concert. We're back.
It was amazing.
Dude, like, I have top favorites for my concerts, and one of my top favorites for my concert has to be Gloria Trevi. She will never take my motherfucker. Like,
she can't
nobody
be topped.
Can't topped unless like somebody else comes.
She's a dumb top. She can't be topped.
Literally. But like after that, it's Kali Uchis, bitch, and Irma and me had like our moment.
Dude, no, honestly, like I could cry again, low key, because it was just so beautiful. It was honestly, because I've said that my 21st birthday was probably the best birthday ever, but I'm gonna say that this 25th birthday was probably the best.
Oh, yay. I'm so glad that we were able to do that.
No, but thank you to you guys, honestly, for making it best. And then thank you, Alan, for the birthday gift. Because Alan was the one that got me the Kali Uchis tickets.
No, tell me why when we were at the concert. I must say, the Kali Uchis concert is also one of my tops. And keep in mind, I've gone to a lot of concerts. Kali Uchis, I love her music. I love it, but I'm not obsessed with her music like you guys.
Right.
Like, I started listening to her because of you guys, but I just remember seeing Irma fucking bawling her eyes out, like, girl,
like having a moment.
Like, so fucking
she's all singing Kali Uchis like, you're all alone.
You know you're alone.
No, hasta lo estaba cantando con pasión. Like,
I'm like, girl, you're not alone. You got it.
Literally, no, but you know what? Like, I feel like her music, I've just always loved her. Like, I will say it again, and I will say it over and over again. I've loved her for so fucking long, since fucking high school. So it was a moment. It was a moment. Like, I literally missed so many opportunities in high school to meet her or even just see her perform live in these small ass like little like venues and shit,
like
and
restaurants.
Like, like literally, it's like those. It's literally the start. Like, even like, what's the venue over there in Santa Ana? The Grove.
The House of Blues?
The House of Blues. Like, those tiny ass fucking places, dude. I had such great opportunities. And, like, to finally have this moment where I could actually see her perform. And I'm so happy and, like, so surprised. She actually sang a lot of her older songs. Yeah.
I know. She did sing a lot of her older songs.
I will say, Irma has been a fan for, like, a long time. Like, way before it was
loved
cool.
her. I loved her. And I'm so happy that, like, you guys got into her, too. Because, like, you know, she's just...
I will eat her ass.
Come over here.
How about we lead it up to the recap video?
I know,
oh my god, dude, that's crazy.
If you guys haven't seen it, we'll put it up right here. But we actually will Sorry, Irma, you got cut off.
But it's okay though, because I think like I just look like a mess. That like it was just not it, girl. Like just,
they were like, we do not choose her. She's crying too much.
In the past month, we've made it on to Dana Paola's, Gloria Trevi, Caliucci's, all the recap.
Like, we're going to the next concert.
Yeah, we're going viral.
But before we get started con todo el motherfucking chisme, we're gonna get started with
alcohol of the week. I wish.
Oh my god.
Oh, is that a fly?
Oh my god, bitch. I'm out of breath. But for this week's episode, you guys, I'm so sorry that we didn't listen to any of you guys. But for this week's episode, we actually decided to drink Buzzball. Let's bring out the Buzzball.
Buzzball. Mia, because I'm not a wine person.
Yeah. Alan never actually doesn't even drink wine at all. Like, I don't know. Why don't you like wine?
I just don't like the bitterness of it. And you know what's also something, a thing.
Do you like apple juice?
No. Well, I mean, I do. Like when I was a kid, I don't. You know what's crazy? I actually haven't had apple juice maybe since I was like fucking like 10.
No way.
It's like one of those things that you haven't had in like.
What about
so
a Capri Sun?
Oh, Capri Suns, I've had those.
There's some wines that taste kind of like Capri Sun with alcohol.
You know what's a weird fact about me? Sorry, but I like apple juice, but only if it's watered down. Yeah, like because my parents like they raised us to like always have it very low sugar. Not to save the
with
juice.
The orange juice.
And with the orange juice, I was low-key the best. I like it, to be honest.
Can I choose since I'm the guest which one I want?
Sure. Okay. So there are 3 Buzzballs here that we're originally just gonna drink, and then we have a biggie.
Chili mango, que obviamente no. Tenemos piña jalapeño. Y tenemos watermelon smash.
I'll do watermelon.
I'm gonna
say okay.
I was gonna try watermelon smash because I actually bought it for my birthday weekend, so I think I get to take it.
I'm your guest. I'm like, girl, ya tu birthday fue hace 2 semanas.
It's okay.
I feel like
you want it.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm fucking with you, bitch.
I'm like, I thought you were serious. I thought you were gonna beat him up for it.
I thought you were gonna like.
Give me my watermelon.
He was gonna end up like Billy.
I feel like low-key, like I've been having a Buzzball addiction. I fucking love Buzzballs. Like, they've been my favorite. Like, I wasn't gonna drink yesterday, and then like I saw Buzzballs, and I was like, girl, let me just have like one.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't just one, it was 2, and then it wasn't 2, it was 3, and then it just kept going. And we had extra, and I said, fuck it. Yeah. Let's have Buzzballs again. So let's take a shot.
Yeah, let's waste them before. Oh wait, it's not cold though.
It's all right.
Ay, no. Pa' arriba, pa' abajo, pa' el centro y pa' adentro. Ay, no. A ver.
That ASMR, honey.
Here's fruit juice si quieres. Here's fruit juice. No fruit juice? Okay. I need a chaser. Like, people be chugging this. Like, before I was able to chug these, but now I can't. I need a chaser with the Buzzball now. That's sad.
I'll take a...
Las Buzzballs en verdad que son un pedo que ni te imaginas. If you've never had a Buzzball, try it out and let me know how it goes. Those shits te traen bien pedos y con las patas abiertas en menos de 10 minutos.
Hard.
Literal, güey. Ay, no.
It's vodka too.
Yeah, this is... Okay, so the reason why it gets you so fucked up is because it's tequila, vodka, and another type of fucking alcohol. Like, bitch.
Yeah, but it's woman-owned, so I think it's fine.
So support them.
I should do chili mango. I'll just do chili mango. Fuck it.
Okay, let me do some little ASMR moment.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, yours looks yummy.
I did have...
like medicine,
Oh, really? If you don't like mine, we can switch it.
I did put fruit punch in mine, as mentioned.
Oh, yeah, give me some.
Yeah?
Because I think that'll make it better.
Maybe that'll taste it better, like, instead of medicine.
Wow, that's so pretty.
Because this just smells like
I actually will probably want some juice.
I personally like the strawberry one.
The strawberry one's my fave, unless it's hot. Unless it's hot. If it's hot.
And also the green one. I don't like... I've had the horchata one. That one's alright.
Horchata one?
But it's not that.
No, I don't like the horchata one.
It's only good like for like the taste, and then the aftertaste is like...
I feel like it's milk based, so I'm like, no, I don't want to throw that up.
Okay, you guys cheer as fuck because low-key, I'm gonna be 100% honest, you guys. I'm a little nervous for this episode. Like, it's just the fact that like I just want to make sure like
things go well.
Yeah. I just want to put it out there. I'd rather put out my nerves out there so like you guys know. So like if you guys see me look like away, like it's just I estoy en mi cabeza.
Stop, because if you think you're nervous, like okay, cheers. Pa arriba, pa abajo, pa el centro y ay Dios. I'm shaking.
What the fuck?
Whoa.
You didn't like that?
That's nasty.
Okay, amigas, so now that we have a little drinking, I feel like the buzzball's gonna kick in any minute because I love me some buzzball.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I do. Oh, okay, I'll take some of this one.
Yeah, you like the lime one better.
Do you want to try
the lime one? Is like a margarita.
That
one's better.
Margarita.
That one's better.
Do you want to try this one or no?
No, I'm good.
No, yours looks even worse. I'm like, yours looks like a potion.
It is a potion.
That's just nasty, yeah. I've been having asco lately to alcohol.
Maybe you're about to be 30.
No. Wait. God wants better things for me.
God said stop drinking alcohol.
No, maybe.
Maybe.
What if he did?
What if?
We don't know.
We don't know.
I mean, we have been drinking like crazy, so.
I don't think we've been drinking that crazy. Just every weekend, but not every day.
It's like every weekend, literally. Anyways.
Yeah. I think we're good. Okay, y'all. So, I know how we were talking briefly about how last week you were on your podcast and you were interviewing Melly Sanchez. Mm-hmm. And she had brought up that she is undocumented as well. And you took that opportunity for you to actually open up about that you are also undocumented.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? How do you feel ahora now that you're kind of like I want to say that you're coming out to the public.
It's like a little coming out.
It's like a coming out party.
Yeah.
I think it's like a immigrant coming out party.
Immigration party. No, so what's your question?
That's your question. How do you feel about it?
I feel free for sure. I feel a weight lifted on my shoulder. I feel like I'm finally being like 100% honest with you guys. Not that it mattered or not that it mattered to like open up. There's always been like that one person here or there that would always be commenting or like asking. And I remember every single time I would get a question about it, especially because I feel like a lot of people started questioning when they would see us traveling everywhere, but outside of the United States. Two, because when you kind of opened up, they're like, oh, well, why doesn't Alan just fix some papers?
Or why don't we get married?
¿Por qué nos casamos? Empezaron como las preguntas a salir un poquito más. And I mean, I've been getting these questions since I started social media. You know, like those 1, 2, 3 people that are so fucking like wanting to know everything about you.
Right.
So for a long time, it would cause me anxiety. Like even if it was only one person, I remember que me causaba tanta ansiedad because I was like, oh my God, they're onto me. They're like, they know something. No, literally, bitch. I would get so much fucking anxiety. Yeah. And now being able to talk about it freely and now being able to sit here and be proud and, you know, not have, you know, the traumas of my childhood like take over me. It feels freeing and it feels good and I'm happy that I did it. You know what I mean? It took me a long time to open up about it, but sometimes you can't really put a timeline on things. They kind of just settle in, you know what I mean?
Why did you decide now to be open about being undocumented? Did you feel like you were like ashamed about being undocumented?
First of all, I want to say, I feel like there's like a lot of parts to why I did what I did or why I didn't open up about it sooner or whatever. When I first started doing social media, I was 17. First of all, I wasn't super open about my immigration status at the time either way. And second of all, even when I started being more comfortable and when I started being more kind of like accepting of who I am and just kind of accepting me as I am, for a long time, I was very much like, why does it matter? You know what I mean? Why do I need to disclose if I'm legally here or if I'm illegally here? Like, that doesn't change who Alannized is, and that doesn't change who I am as a person. And for a long time, I didn't want to share it because if you guys follow me, yo siento como que mi contenido es muy como hablando mierda. You know what I mean? A mí, yo siempre me gusta tirar y a la gente siempre le gusta tirarme. Like, I'm the type of person, if you watch my content, I feel like if you fuck with my humor, you like love me.
It's like a bounce back. It's like a connection that you have with someone. Like, it's a homie, like it's a friend. Like, that's how you just talk to people and connect with them.
I feel like for a long time, like, everyone would have tagged me about my weight. They would have tagged me about this. They would have tagged me about that. And for a long time, once I started being more comfortable about like my undocumented status, I was like, no, I don't need to expose another vulnerability of mine online just so people can use it against me. Especially because as a child, you know, you asked me if I was ashamed or if I was, you know, scared to talk about
because you did mention to me, like, you know, we have conversations outside this door, and you have mentioned to me that even your closest friends have made you feel ashamed about being undocumented.
So, pienso que entramos a los Estados Unidos en el 2001. I think I was like 5. Very young. I started kindergarten here, but kindergarten, it was very brief. I started kindergarten ya como a mitades. Like, but kindergarten wasn't really important. Like, you don't even need to learn shit pa que te pasen. It's kind of more just like babysitting vibes.
No,
like
it really is.
And so it wasn't really like I was learning the language or I was doing nothing major. It wasn't until first grade where I don't want to say that first grade was like my first encounter with, you know, people making fun of me for my undocumented status, because I want to say a lot of like the bullying comes like within the family, you know what I mean? And I don't want to say it in a bad way, but because, you know, everybody that would bully me at the time was kids, you know? But even like my siblings would bring it up. So somos 4, 2 no tenemos papeles y 2 sí. And I remember my siblings that did have papers, you know, a veces se burlaban, hacían chistes, or even primos, you know, you would hear everyone like talking down on it. So I will want to say that, you know, the bullying started very, you know, early on. You know what I mean? Especially when
even close to home.
Yes. But I didn't take it too personal when it was coming from my primas, from my siblings, because I was like, whatever. Like, it's not a big deal. It's family. You know, you kind of learn to live with it, even though it causes traumas.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until first grade where I really, really, you know, was bullied to the point where I felt like being undocumented in the United States was something shameful. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't until... So, just so you guys can understand a little bit more, I didn't learn the English language until, like, endings of first grade, maybe beginnings of second. Ya bien lo hablaba ya by 4th grade. You know, 3rd grade, 4th grade. So, when I started going to first grade, you know, obviously I went from kinder, we moved houses, so we had to move schools. I started at Fremont Elementary, and I remember I had a teacher named Miss Torres. Super, super nice teacher. Me impactó mucho mi vida. And me acuerdo que en esa clase I had like 3 little amiguitos, which one of them is still Jenny. Jenny, one of my friends that you guys still see to this day. And I remember there was another girl that would kick it with us, and there was like this group of guys. I guess like... I mean, when you're little, like, they didn't really know, like, what gay was, or, like, they didn't really... It was harder to spot on who was gay or not, especially if you weren't that out. Right. So I guess those little kids pensaban que yo quería con las muchachas que me juntaba with. And I'm guessing, like, some of those girls that I would kick it with, they wanted with them. Little kids, you know, like little kids.
It really is that. Yeah.
And it was always very known in my first grade class that I didn't have papers. Why? Because... I come into school, everyone knew English. I was the only kid like coming in 3 weeks into school already.
And having like broken English.
No English at all. Like no English. Like very like the teacher would have to like say stuff in Spanish. I remember, you know what's so crazy? Like even thinking back, I remember I had a hard time writing a sentence because I didn't get the idea of what a sentence was.
That's crazy.
It's crazy because like the teacher would be like, "Vamos a escribir un sentence," right? I think she didn't remember. She didn't know exactly the proper Spanish term for the word sentence. Y yo me acuerdo que la miraba como de que, what is a sentence? Like, what do you mean, bitch? Like, she's like, oh, palabras, y hacen un
oración,
sentence, you know?
es oración en español.
Oración, yeah, oración. And I would be like, what do you mean you put words together?
What do you mean, dumb bitch?
No, and I'm
like, ABCDFG, dumbass.
No, I literally swear to God.
Spanish.
Like, I swear to God, that was like my first moment where I was like, fuck, like, I'm learning a new language.
Yeah.
I was fresh, you know, from Mexico. Maybe we hadn't even been here for like a year.
For sure you were frustrated.
And then, the little kids started making fun of me, and you know, they would call me like Beaner because I didn't know any English, making on, you know, the Mexican boy or el Mexicano, like little things like that as little kids that obviously they find funny, but when it applies to you, it's like obviously not funny. When they would make immigration jokes, like, you know, obviously to the people that it didn't apply to, maybe it can be funny, but not to me. So
it hurts. It hurts. Especially as a child, you feel like someone's actually attacking you. And that carries you on for a very, very long time. And still to this day, I'm sure you still have that trauma of like, well, you still do because you just barely came out. You carried on until now that you were like, you know what? Fuck
I need to protect myself.
So as a little kid, yo me acuerdo que se burlaban mucho de mí. Hasta mis propias amistades hacían sus chistes, que obviamente los comprendo. Like, it can be funny, you know, to fuck around with it, but you know, to me, because the immigration, the migra joke applied to me, it would make me uncomfortable because the no tiene papeles joke applied to me, it wasn't funny. So I remember ya cuando yo empecé a hablar bien el idioma y lo empecé a dominar, it got to a point where I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna hide that aspect of my life. Like, no one needs to know my immigration status.
I don't need to walk around and be like
I'm undocumented, I'm here illegally, like, make fun of me. And it became a trauma. And also because I do want to say, el miedo, que no nomás the bullying te ponía, pero el miedo de que, you know, escuchabas pláticas, obviamente mis papás son undocumented as well. Escuchabas pláticas de la migra. I grew up with my parents always being traumados de retenes, you know, being like, oh my God, hay un retén en esta calle, no vamos a pasar por ahí. I even remember one time in high school, I was sleeping over at Dalia's house, and there was actually a retén on the street where she's on, and my parents wanted to come pick me up because at the time they didn't let me sleep over at people's house, and I was like, well, there's a retén, like, there's no way you guys can come, like, whatever. So I remember growing up with hearing everybody how, like, I mean, I guess in my head it kind of se me cementó, like, it's
how scary it was.
It's scary and how bad and not normal and how not accepted being undocumented is in this country.
No,
you know
it is.
What I mean?
I understand that on the fact of like the fear that you had of wanting to go out or anything of that sort. Because my parents, I experienced them like going through the emotion and like having those pláticas like, oh, like we shouldn't go farther than where your tia lives. Like literally all I remember is driving the farthest to LA to my tia or to Riverside to like to visit my other tia because like they're not trying to risk going anywhere
even
else.
Go to San Diego is like
they would never
super riskful.
Never. I would have to when they finally got their papers and they finally went to CBX or whatever, they were like, hey, can you please drive us because we're scared? I'm like, of course. Like if you guys ever need me to go because you're scared, I can. Even if they're documented and they got their like papers and stuff, they still get scared because you know like it's just that fear.
It's just that fear behind your head. I feel like when I was younger, it would be the exact same thing, and my mom was like a single mom. So like imagine that, like you only have one fucking parent, bitch. Yeah. So like my mom even made me more fearful of like the migra. Till this day, I have never, even with my paperwork that I have right now, have passed through a fucking retén.
Yeah.
I'm too fucking scared of it. I would not. I don't care if I have my fucking citizenship or not, but that shit's scary. Yeah. And like, it's just that type of fear that you kind of, that, you know, living in a Mexican kind of household where everyone's kind of undocumented, they implant this fear in you where we're not able to do more than what we think we could do. Does that make sense?
It's also the sense of like, you know, I want to say there's like two types of Mexicans in the States. You know, there's like the Mexicans that have papers and the Mexicans that don't. So obviously I feel like the ones that don't can relate to the sense like you grow in a foreign fucking country like with fucking fear. You know what I mean? So what I was going with is that like because I had the fears of getting bullied, because I had the fears of just, you know, the life, you know, that you grow up being undocumented, like the being scared of the migra, being scared to even travel to San Diego, further than LA, further than Riverside. I'm talking more about like Southern California. Right. I feel like when I started getting, you know, older, and I started learning the English language where it wasn't like, oh, no habla inglés, like no de ser de aquí, I started kind of not even forget about like my undocumented side, but it was more like
it just wasn't important.
Yeah, it was no, or even to me as a kid. To me, like now as an adult, it's like it's not important. But to me as a kid, I remember I was like, I'm gonna mask it. Like, there no one needs to know. Like as long as I know, like if people know, it's only gonna create more anxiety, more stress, more fear in me.
Like it doesn't benefit them to know.
You know what I mean? And it also doesn't benefit me to get made fun of. You know what I mean? So I feel like for a long time as a child, I was just like, okay, yeah, I'm Mexican, but they don't need to know that I'm illegally here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just going to continue on my life. And I did for many years.
Because I'm not going to let someone fucking think that they have this power over me just because I'm illegal.
And I also feel like for a long time, especially in my childhood, I spent a lot of my childhood feeling less than those that did have, you know, papers.
Because your siblings
not even papers. Then. Well, first of all, you know, like my siblings were able to go to Mexico during the summer. I wasn't. So there was already that first experience of feeling left out. Second of all, you know, you get bullied and, you know, your friends make fun of it. Your friends make jokes about it to where it's like, oh, like it must not be okay to be illegal. You know what I mean? Like it must be something that you should be ashamed of. And I feel like for a long time, like I did carry myself with shame in that aspect.
What's one thing that kind of like triggered you that they said about you, that about your status?
That literally triggered you to just mask everything.
Do you remember that word, that moment?
I think it was like a lot of it was like first and second grade. Like when I wasn't really fluent in English, like it would be like
where you couldn't defend yourself,
where I couldn't, like you would hear like el mexicano, el beaner,
like that's
like obviamente eso es lo entendía,
la migra, le vamos a llamar, like in the playground, you know what I mean? So like those are like my first memories.
Ruthless kids are literally so ruthless, because I could remember like I remember personally as a kid, like people would just scream out, "La migra, la migra," and you could see the fear in some people when they would turn around and shit, and I would just be like, "What the fuck?" Like, kids are so ruthless, and they really don't understand and don't care that, like, they don't realize the trauma and the fear that people really go through when they are undocumented.
I just think it just goes to show, like, yes, kids are ruthless, but it just goes to show, like, the aspect or, like,
they're not educated.
Not even that, like the aspect of when you say a joke that doesn't apply to you, but you don't know how much it can affect someone else. Like, and I'm not just talking about like an immigration status. Like, we can talk about like, you know, kids getting bullied for being too fat, kids getting bullied for being gay. Like, obviously to the bully, like, let's say like to me, like now as like a thinner person, like, not that it'd be funny, but like, let's say I'm making fun of some like, oh, está gordita, ha ha ha. Like maybe the person that's making fun of that gordita person, to them is funny. Why? I don't know. But to the person that it applies to, like the girl that's getting made fun of, it's like, oh, like it hurts me because it's an insecurity I already come with. So for me, like, yeah, maybe like I can't understand, like kids don't know shit. Kids don't fucking understand the power of words.
I feel like it starts at home.
Say, when they would say that, it would be maybe funny to them, like, ha ha ha, la migra, like, even because, let's be honest, like these little kids are not going to be fucking calling the migra. They barely fucking know the number of 911.
Hey, but you know what's so crazy though? It does start at home, because it's like the parents know like what they're saying, and it just goes back to the child, and then they just use that against somebody else, which isn't okay. And that's why, as like Mexicans or even Latinos, or just I feel like older generations, they were too scared to have that conversation with their child. Like, hey, there's people out there that unfortunately don't have, you know,
privileges or
it is that though, because you have to recognize it before you even try to understand it. Does that make sense?
But I think it's also like, it's not even just kids that like, oh, their parents need to teach them. A lot of these kids that make fun of people that are undocumented have undocumented parents. They just got fucking lucky that they were born in the States because their parents came over here before.
I was so lucky. My brother was, my oldest brother
too.
Yeah, my mom was pregnant with my oldest brother when she was literally crossing the border, and it was such a high risk thing that she was wanting to do, but she was like, no, I needed to come over here. I need to do my thing. Yeah, he needs to literally be born here. And she made that so possible to like literally have the rest of us. And you know, the great thing is that if my brother was not born here, both of my parents would not have papers.
Yeah.
Thankfully that my brother got his papers and he was born here, that once he turned 21, my parents got their papers.
And like, it just goes to show, like, going back to like what I was saying, like it is very much like that. You know what I mean? But like what I'm saying, it's like, you don't know the power of words. Like now, like these kids that find something funny, they're making fun of something that applies to the other kid. And now this kid grows up with all these traumas because they were bullied, because they were too overweight, because people thought they were ugly. Yeah. In my case, because of my immigration status. So like you were saying, it does start at home. Like these parents need to teach kids to...
I just feel like it just needs to be recognized.
It really does, honestly.
I feel like I don't understand what is the whole thing of like hiding things. Yeah. It's kind of just like for example, like when I found out, like when I was like an immigrant, I don't know the right way to say it. I know that last time that I talked about it, like a lot of people were like, oh, you don't say it like this or you say it like that. It's like, that's the part where I'm saying you have to recognize it. You can't shadow a fucking word and replace it with something else when it means the exact same thing. It's like, I am an immigrant. I'm illegal. I am not supposed to be here in the United States, you know? And the great thing about it was that I actually, when I was younger, I didn't really like kind of think twice about who I was. Right. Because I never really found it as an importance to be like, hey, like I'm illegal. Like, no, I kind of just been like, I'm illegal. Like, I don't have papers. Like, what's the problem, girl? Like, are you gonna fight me? No, like it really was that. I never let anyone like tear me down because of that. My mom was very like a good way of like being like, hey, you know, you are not supposed to be here. You were not supposed to be here since you were younger. Yeah. You know, your story was you came here when you were 6 months. And unfortunately, you're going to have a hard life if you don't get this shit together. Yeah. And my mom has always been like that. And even when we were able to get my DACA, I was still even like, my mom didn't even put it in my head what I was doing. She was just like, I promise you this is going to benefit you. You know that you're not from here, but it's going to benefit you. So then at that moment, it was always just kind of like, I'm a DACA recipient. I can work here. I'm legally supposed to work here. Like, I'm legally supposed to be here. I have never felt ever discriminated in any sense or when I was younger or anything. Or never did I feel bullied like that because I never wanted that to be
like you think,
like a negative thing about me.
And that's something that I've always said, like, that's something that I admire of you, and I'm very proud of you because ever since I've met Danny, like, he's always, you know, carried himself with pride or just always carried himself with courage, because there's a thing about being pride, because it's like, I'm proud to be Mexican, but maybe at one point, like, I wasn't very proud to be undocumented, because there's a difference, you know what I mean? Like, I could be Mexican living in Mexico and I can be so like, yes, I'm undocumented, because in Mexico it doesn't matter because you're legal in Mexico, you know what I mean? As opposed to when here it's like, oh yeah, like you're Mexican,
the United States,
but you're undocumented, which makes it even worse.
It's just, look, it's not even the United States alone, but it's people in general just don't make it, they make it seem as a bad thing. Yeah. And like, I understand, but I have always thought like that in my adult life, I think that humans should be human. Yeah. Like, there shouldn't be fucking a status about anything. Like, girl, like, I grew up in a fucking ground, girl. Like, that's where I should be living. Like, I should be able to go to Europe because, girl, I grew up on Earth. Like, make it make sense. You know what I mean? Like, that's what made... I feel like that's what helped me kind of think about my legal status a lot, was like, I am human and I will not let anybody else make me feel lesser than a human, if that makes sense.
Did you have that similar kind of experience growing up, Danny, like in elementary or in middle school when you like would go in? Would they ever bully you with you? Like,
honestly, no. I got more bullied for being gay. Like, that was more of a...
Because you're more gay out there.
I was more... No, and not only that, I would hide more that I was gay. Not that I had citizenship. Like, that was always kind of like, I don't have papers.
But it's because, you know what, a big thing with me and you is that Danny came to the States when he was 6 months. Yeah. So he grew up and learned English right away. So when he went to school, he wasn't easy. Like different. You know what I mean? I came and I was already like 4 or 5. I came into kindergarten, didn't know shit. Came into first grade, was that new kid introduced as in like, you know, he doesn't know English, you know, so everyone, please make sure you guys, you know, talk to him in his language. I know that, you know what I mean? So I feel like that's why maybe you didn't experience that. And I feel like that's why maybe you were able to like always, you know, hold it down with pride and be like, no, like, this is who I am. Yes, I'm undocumented, because it was never like an issue. You know, you never had that experiences of getting bullied, of getting made fun for being that new kid that didn't speak English, you know, in the classroom. So I feel like it goes by time and time, you know. So I remember when I started learning English, it was never like a topic of conversation, you know, like no one ever questioned it, no one ever asked it. So I was like, okay, no one's asking about it. Don't say anything about it, right? So yo me acuerdo, yo tenía... ¿Cuándo salió de acá?
Like when we were 14.
Like 14 maybe, like 14, 13. Yo me acuerdo que lo agarré como a esa edad. But funny thing here, for a long time, like I knew I had DACA, but because I was so little, I wasn't able to work. I wasn't even thinking about working. I didn't really see it affect me immediately to where I'm like, wow, like I'm protected. Obviously my mom knew that I was protected, but to me, I didn't physically see it. So I still continued my high school years. I still continued my middle school years, like not talking about it. I never was like, I'm on DACA, like I'm good now. For everyone that thought,
14, that's, you know, in 8th grade, right?
No,
like 7th grade, like like maybe like 8th grade high school.
People start having quinceañeras, remember?
And quinceañeras. So it was very much like, just don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. But
like, it's not important. Like, why should it be important to others?
I remember it became an issue to me when I was applying to colleges.
Oh, senior year.
Because senior year. I remember, I kid you not.
You know what? Anyways, because I was gonna say, like, I don't know how that didn't like captivate me, because I think I would even go with you guys to like sign up for the classes and everything, and the specific counselor would help us like apply and stuff, and it was just I remember having like a different application process between you guys.
No, you guys never knew about my application process.
I never knew about it. Funny, never.
Because I think we always do it separate. Then that's why we wouldn't do it together
at all costs. Obviously, so right. Danny and Irma at the time, I met them my senior year, and they were my friends, but it wasn't very much like, where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to like give it to them, right? Because at the time, a lot of my really, really close friends knew, like Priscilla, Jenny, Nerali, like they all knew my undocumented status. Right. But it would take a lot for me to like open up, you know what I mean? Especially to others, because it was something,
especially because we were new and like stranger danger. And I grew up with
people like trying to make fun of me, so I was like, I just don't want to share this, and then them use it against me. You know, you never know, fucking friends switch up. So I remember during high school, I don't know what it was that me getting on red, me acuerdo que when I would fill out my applications for school, if you go back to all my paperwork, I think it would like, I would mark off like that I was a U.S. citizen.
Oh, yeah.
Because every time I would do an application, I would be near any of you guys or like by like another classmate. So me paniqueaba because it would be like, oh, either you guys or whoever would be seeing me fill out the forms, like you guys would be like hovering over me, and I would panic. I'm like, oh my God, like, this is the moment. Y rápido le ponía like the U.S. citizen part because I would panic. I would get anxiety, and you know, así viví por.
I'm sorry, Fred, because like I would hover a lot, low-key.
But I think it was just like,
am I gonna call the vegan on you?
No, you know what I mean? Very that, like, for a long time, like, I was very much like, no one's gonna come out to get me because, like, you're not gonna fucking get me. And it wasn't until, I want to say, even though I'm 25, I feel like I didn't physically and mentally matured until I was like 23, which is crazy because you think like, bitch, at 21, you're already like living in a house, paying bills, but you still didn't feel mature. I didn't feel mature in the aspect of like, I didn't accept myself for who I really was until like maybe like 2-3 years ago. To where like, if people ask me, like, I'll be like, like I obviously won't go out there and be like, I'm undocumented. But if people ask me, like, I'd be like, oh yeah, like I was born in Mexico, you know, especially in my daily life. So the thing that changed for me, where I was like, why are you letting this like be a big deal, was when I started working and I started, you know, I don't want to say becoming successful, but I started, you know, making successful because, you know, like I do want to say that I do consider myself successful, you know, maybe I don't have like a lot of businesses, but I'm doing well off for myself. And I feel like it wasn't until that point where I was like, damn, all the people that in my life have bullied me, that have made fun of me, or just people that like tend to try to bring me down. What are they doing with their life? They have their papers, but are they doing anything with them? No. So that's when I realized that a little fucking immigration status is not going to determine where or how far you're going to get in life. You know what I mean? For a long time, I did feel like, you know, being undocumented was going to stop me from achieving my dreams. You know, like when I was young, I remember the convo of going to college wasn't even a big convo, because I remember my family would be like, no, si no tienes papeles, nomás vas a la escuela y no te dan tu diploma. No puedes trabajar. ¿Cómo? Porque no, en ese entonces todavía no salía DACA. ¿Cómo trabajabas? Diploma te la daban, pero no tienes tus papeles.
So you kind of like even lost your motivation to want to like, go to school.
When I started making a name for myself and really seeing how much I've, you know, built, I started thinking, I'm like, no, like, I don't know why I was so scared, or I don't know why I let all these people, like the people that used to bully me, like, what are they doing? Like, they're not doing much. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of them still live with their parents. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like,
like me.
No, but it's like,
no, it's nothing wrong, but it's true though, because like you don't like. I'm not gonna sit here and tienen
papeles, pero it's like, ¿qué estás haciendo con tus putos papeles? Like,
I'm like, girl, like, I'm taking advantage of it.
I always think about that. Like, if I'm being 100% honest, you guys, yo siempre lo he dicho, tener papeles is a privilege.
Yeah, it really is.
Even us having DACA is a privilege, because we have a privilege over people that don't even have DACA.
Yeah.
Because at least me and Danny don't live in fear anymore, where we're like, oh my God, like, what if we travel and there's
well, right now, I do.
We gotta be careful.
Like, my papers, they expired.
But you know what I mean? It becomes the thing of where you're like,
you have to be cautious.
Well, you have to be cautious. But to me, it just turned into more of like, no, dude, like, you're being successful. You're doing the damn thing in a different fucking country. And you should be fucking proud of yourself, not fucking ashamed. And that's when I feel like it switched for me. And even then, you know what's so crazy? I have fucking close friends that when I started a set, because they grew up with me, like, being able to make these jokes with me, it even caught them off guard, because there came a point where they would make these points, where they would make these comments, and I would be like, okay, but what have you done with your life? Like, what are you doing with your life? Tienes tus papeles, pero no has hecho ni vergas. And that's when they're like,
what the fuck?
Because it's true. It's like, so I feel like a lot of the people that have bullied me, especially after coming out about it, that have made fun of me, are people que tienen sus papeles pero que no han hecho nada con ellos.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Like, what are you doing? Nothing. Like, bitch, you're literally a waste of papers.
She's not talking to herself.
Literally waste of papers.
But like,
how was it when you applied to your first job? You know, you've only had one job.
True.
So like, how was it applying, because you were hiding it? So like, did you hide it with them?
So, funny story. I actually talked briefly about it on the podcast, but I didn't even tell the story because, you know, it wasn't about me. Okay, so I get DACA. You know, my junior year, I was like, oh my God, I need to work. My parents need money. I need money. That's when I already, ya quería mis gustos. Ya quería tener mi propio dinero. And I remember I applied for the OC Fair. Which has been my first and only job before and even during social media, you know? So, me acuerdo que cuando fui, era yo, Dalia, y mi amiga, una amiga que tenía Liz. Right? So, íbamos todas juntas. En ese entonces, Dalia todavía no sabía about my status. And Dalia era bien burlosca. Una cosa que sí voy a decir, I love my friend, pero era una de las bullies. No, pero no lo dice. Yo ya entiendo.
Pues sí,
As niños, like, dices pendejadas, you know what I mean?
We don't even know what the fuck they mean sometimes.
Ella sí le tenía miedo, no te voy a mentir. Because she was like she knows how to make fun of people like me. Like,
she's a straight up,
she's a straight up bitch. And me acuerdo que cuando fuimos to apply, you had to go to the fairgrounds. There's like a little office. I pull up with my two homegirls, y tengo mis documentos, right? Tengo mi application, tengo mi ID, tengo mi seguro social, which, by the way, if you guys don't know, our seguro social says
valid for work purposes only.
Dice algo diferente que a un seguro social normal. So obviamente lo tenía hasta atrás. And then mi tarjeta de permiso de trabajo lo tenía hasta abajo. Right? Si me piden identification, les daba mi ID, pues no se daban cuenta. So the manager, the one that was like, oh, I can get you guys hooked up, was actually one of my friends. He was like a guy that I knew. And which actually, you actually got to meet him. Y me acuerdo que he was like, oh, come over here. And I was like, okay, like, let's all go. Like, he's going to get us through a shortcut to get our fucking paperwork turned in. he's like, okay, do you have all your things? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, let me see what you have to make sure. And I was like, oh, I have the application, you know, the ID. And when it was coming to like the other two things, I was like, oh my God, I'm scared. Like, I've never shown anyone my fucking work.
You're like, Claudia, and there's other bitches behind you.
Yeah, and then my two
You're
friends.
like, how am I going to distract them?
Dude, literally, I'm like, look over there. And for some reason, I don't know what happened because Dahlia and my friend no se dieron cuenta. I think que fueron a hacer otra cosa. Like, I no me acuerdo exactamente, pero las mandé a hacer otra cosa. And I was showing him all my document and he's like, oh, you have DACA?
All loud?
Así, güey. Y yo como de que trágame tierra y escúpenme en París.
Yeah.
Like, my heart sank because, well, there was other people around. And I was like, oh my God, I'm freaking out. And I still remember I was like, obviously, what can I say?
Like,
no.
Fucking,
I'm not gonna be like, no, I have papers. Like, bitch, no, you don't. And I was like, oh, yeah, like I do. And luckily he was like, oh, me too. Pero yo me acuerdo que quedé tramado, güey, diciendo like, oh my God, like
what if they were there? Yeah.
Like, or what if my friend heard? Like at the time, I would keep it a secret, you know? And así pasó, I got the job y pues,
I became
he was a successful manager.
I did, you know, even then, like I remember cuando yo estaba chiquito before because I didn't get my ID until I got the job.
Yeah.
Do you know that? That's actually a fun fact. You know, because when you get your DACA, I'm sure you got your ID right away.
I did.
Yo nunca, es lo que yo te digo, que yo nunca sentí que tenía como protección because even after having DACA, I didn't go get my like ID until like I needed it.
To get your driver's license.
You know, when I needed to drive or no, well, bitch, I didn't get my driver's license until 19.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, so like for a long time, like I never felt like, oh, you're protected.
Yeah.
Because if anything, I feel like now las ID se las dan even if you don't have papers, but back then it was like if you had some like paper. My parents didn't grow up with fucking having IDs.
That. Porque por eso my dad no tenía un driver's license y my mom tenía un driver's license.
Ahora ya se las dan.
Ya se los dan como sin ningún problema. But before, si no tenían papeles, no podían para nada to get their license or nada. So
they
like,
would be even scared to go to the DMV.
Por eso no querían ir a manejar lejos o cualquier cosa.
And it's crazy now, like thinking back, like it makes me sad.
Yeah.
Like how many years I carried that part of me with shame because, you know, that was only that's a big part of me. You know, that's a big part of who I am, who, you know, I'm destined to be. And it makes me sad that there was a long time in my life where like I maybe wasn't as proud of being undocumented in a foreign country. You know what I mean? And I do have to blame that on like the fears of growing up being undocumented. Like it's hard out there, y'all. Like, and I feel like
it really
if
is.
you know, you know.
But it's okay to feel that way because you said yourself, it's the fear that you have to literally go through and shit. Like nobody else is gonna understand that shit until somebody actually experiences it. Like you swear anybody that has papers now is gonna experience that.
I feel like right now I'm fucking feeling it hard as fuck because it's like there is a time where like when I need the help and I need help of like my government, United States, you know, like these motherfuckers hate me. Like it's just been a hard one, y'all. Like, you know, being
tough.
I just wish we lived. Of course, this will never happen because, bitch, like, we live in a fucking democracy and all this fucking stupid ass shit that exists. But, you know, I hope that one day we are all just human and we just kind of just like live.
You know what I just remembered? What? Oh my God. And I feel like even bigger fears arose for me and Danny. We were already together when Trump got elected. I think the second time, or was it the first time?
And we were gay?
No me acuerdo. But I remember when me and Danny like found out that Trump won. We're like, bitch, he's gonna take out DACA. Like, we're done.
I was like, what the fuck is gonna happen?
I remember even like being the behind the scenes, like when you guys would talk about that, like. I was like, oh shit, this is gonna affect my friends. Like,
no, at the time you didn't know. I do want to say something. You didn't know it was gonna affect me.
No, I didn't know. I thought it was only gonna be Danny because I still didn't know that Alan was undocumented. Literally, there was like a point where I literally did not know at all. Like, I guess I did kind of suspect it, but like in a sense, like I didn't really like know because when the whole like, you know, Trump presidency happened or whatever, like I was just mainly more concerned about Danny because I mainly knew that he didn't have papers, you know, like he, you know, was very open about it, didn't really care or anything. And then like, I think later when I find out, honestly, I generally don't remember. I think that's when like I questioned you and you were like, oh yeah, I don't have papers.
I remember like my sister had you know, because Irma's with us all the fucking time, y'all. Yeah. And Irma's around my family or around my friends.
They're literally like my second family.
Literally. Said a comment, and I remember I was like, oh, I wonder if Irma caught the fuck on, right? Like, but sometimes, like, I don't know if Irma catches on because, like, especially when people are speaking Spanish around her, she's kind of slow. Yeah. So I was like, oh, I don't think she fucking caught on. Y yo me acuerdo que, I don't know when, but you had made something like, oh, you don't have to, you like made a tease.
You know.
But like kind of to confirm. Like kind of, it was like a tease question. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't. And I was like, why? And she's like, oh, nothing, I just didn't. And I was like, oh yeah, well, no.
But you know what? That's what I think. I was like, I knew it. Like, you should have just told me to. I was just like very like, of course I wasn't gonna like make fun of him or anything. I was just like, oh dude, like you could have just told me. Like I have, like my parents were undocumented. Like, and I understand that it's different. Of course, like you never know who you could trust, you know, and all this stuff. But it's just like, it was just a shocking moment. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
I think as an adult, when I started noticing that it wasn't really a big deal, because I remember when your stepdad found out, I remember I was panicking because I was like, oh, they don't know like my undocumented status. I remember he was going through my wallet. I caught Liz going through my wallet one day. He sacó mi tarjeta, and I walk in and I was like, oh, what are you doing? And he's like, and he showed me.
He came into the room and gave you the wallet.
The wallet,
and then he gave you the wallet, and you were like, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. You took it. He didn't take it out. He grabbed your wallet, and then he was looking through it in front of our face, and then he's like, oh, ¿de quién es esta cartera? And you were, and I was like, oh, that's his. And then he was like, oh, okay, then. And then you asked me, you were like, you think he saw my card? And I was like, he probably did.
He did say, he didn't mention nothing about it?
No, he didn't mention anything about it.
But what I'm trying to say about it's like as I started getting older and I started being more open about my immigration status, and I started seeing how it wasn't really like a big deal. I was like, no mames, wait. Toda esta pinche vida traumado over something that wasn't really a big deal. Because at the end of the day, when you're adults, it's like, okay, like, you're protected now. You have DACA. Like, it's not really a big deal. What are you going to make fun of me? Yeah. Like, that I'm here legally?
If anything, I'm doing better than all you other bitches.
Wait, do you guys really not remember how it happened with Gretel?
I honestly really don't.
Your grandma, and it ended up being that Irma and Gretel had to take your grandma to CBS.
No, but Irma knew this before that.
No, it wasn't. It was during that comment.
Yeah, because I was like, why can't you just come with me? Like, why don't you just go?
It was that.
Let's go, no?
No, you started saying that. You didn't end up telling them. Yeah. And then Gretel was driving on the way over there, and she made a comment.
How many years ago? Like, maybe
like a couple years ago, yeah.
4 years ago. Yes. I don't remember. You know what's so crazy?
Daddy has a better memory.
I remember when
I do remember that. I do remember that.
Everyone, but I don't remember exactly like
how I came upon
Irma. I think it just kind of like, all I remember is like for so many years of my friendship with Irma, like it was never a topic of conversation.
It was never important.
Yeah, not that I would. It was a
never important topic. Whenever we made travel plans or anything, it was always within the states. Yeah. De todos modos, they nunca me encartaba.
Like it was
go out. You know what? That's crazy. I do remember saying like, hey, because you remember when I went to TJ with a friend?
Oh,
I was like, hey, we should go one day, guys. We should go. And you guys were like, oh yeah, we should go one day. And like,
but
I would always say that. I would honestly always save Alan's ass with stuff like that. Like I would be like they would be like, oh my god, let's go to Cabo, and I go, bitch, BFF, alright, we have gamers.
And I would be like, okay, I don't have to open it.
I was like, now Danny took the attention. Now I don't have to say absolutely anything anymore. But that's how kind of like what the whole like. I already knew that you didn't want anybody to know it, but it was just kind of like, I'm not gonna hide it.
Yeah, and you're not gonna out me. Yeah, if I didn't feel comfortable, you know.
Did you ever feel like you've lost a lot of opportunities because of the fact that I
actually did lose a lot of opportunities. There's been a lot of brand trips. A bitch could have gone to France. A bitch could have gone to the Virgin Islands. A bitch could have gone to Cabo. Like I've had Thailand. I've had brand trips where brands are like, hey,
we've actually both have had a lot of opportunities to go outside of the country, and that's what sucks about it. Like we can't even leave. Like that's what bugs me, because like me, I'm the only one in my family, and of course like my mom, but like in sibling wise, I'm the only one that doesn't have fucking papers. So like my sister would always fucking make fun of me that she could leave to Mexico. My sister has never left to Mexico, but like she had always been like, bitch, I can leave. But I'm like, girl, you're literally 22 years old and you're not traveling the world. Give them to me. I have always said that. that no matter what it is, once I get my papers, I want to travel the world, girl. Like, I want to.
Once they get their papers, un día, you guys. We're all gonna travel the world. You're for sure. Your guys' honeymoon has to be like somewhere in Europe, somewhere in.
I'm like, who are you gonna pay? Are you gonna pay?
Not me, but I know your honeymoon is gonna be iconic.
You know what's so crazy too? Like, and I feel like a lot of people would always like when you would talk about not having papers. A lot of people would be like, "Why doesn't even in person, bitch?" Like this was like an in person thing too. People would be like, "Oh, why don't you guys just marry for papers?" And I would be like, "I don't want to marry for papers." I'm like,
if I'm gonna marry him, I'm gonna love him.
It's gonna be for love.
And we're still not married.
Like that's why.
You know what though? People are gonna ask for sure. I could already imagine the comments like, "Hey, why doesn't Irma just marry one of you guys so you guys can get papers or something like that?"
And that's how
when Irma wants to get married.
Where's my ring?
She's like, I'm gonna marry Alan and not sign the prenup. So when I divorce them,
I get the money.
It's not gonna be Alannized anymore. It's gonna be Alanizer.
But I do think it's like, I've come along. I do feel like I've come a long way, and
you did.
I'm kind of proud of myself. I'm kind of proud in the aspect of like I've broken that cycle of like I'm not gonna let a status
affect you.
Fucking make me live in fear. You know what I mean? Because for a lot of years I did, and a lot of years I felt shame. And now I'm just.
But now you're taking that back.
I don't care if someone's gonna fucking make fun of me. Like, go ahead and make motherfucking fun of me. La vida da muchas vueltas. Que si escupes para arriba, acuérdate que te va a escupir en la cara. And I've been wanting to open up about my immigration status for like a while now. And one of the things that like would kind of stop me was because I was like, fuck. One, people are gonna talk shit. People are gonna be like, oh my god, you benefit so much from like the Mexican community, from the Latino community, and you're ashamed of being Mexican. I've never once said I've been ashamed of being Mexican. Like, if anything, I'm proud of being Mexican. But I think there is a difference of, when you're Mexican and you live undocumented in a place where you are
not accepted,
where you are made to feel like you're not accepted. You know what I mean? So that aspect of my life, I feel like caused me a lot of trauma and caused me a lot of stress growing up.
It was dark.
It was.
You know what's so crazy? Something that I do remember, like, that kind of just brought up a whole ass fucking memory, like, right now. Like, oh my god, girl, like, this is crazy. Anyways, like, like, when you have, like, those moments where you're like, girl, this really happened to me. Yeah. Like, there was a time, and even you, when you met me, I low-key, I don't know, like, I just really didn't like to be, like, Mexican, if that made sense. Like, I never even liked to have, like, even when my stepdad came around, I was very whitewashed. Yeah. Like, I did not want to go to the taco place. I did, like, if you wanted to take me out to eat, girl, like, no tacos. And like, girl, we're gonna go to fucking Arby's. No, like, really that though. But it was just
Arby's, like a little, like a burger place.
Yeah, I think so. Right? Yeah. I've never tried it.
So like, I was just, I remember that. I think the reason why I also wasn't shameful about being Mexican was, or even being of that undocumented, because kind of like my mom kind of grew me up very whitewashed.
But if you think
and that's
about
what it is, though. Your parents are protecting you.
If you think about it, it's very much like you said. You grew up not wanting to feel or like do Mexican things. That's also like a sense of like the shame that you carried for a little bit. Your mom was like, oh my god, let's do everything that the people in America do to cover it up. To be like less Mexican.
Yes,
and it's a thing that happens.
Yeah, it really does. And you don't notice it. And that's what I'm just realizing as of right now, that it's just kind of like your parents try to mask it as possible. And that's why when I hate when people call me like a no sabo kid, because a no sabo kid is not like, it's not that we don't want to learn Spanish. Is just probably our parents didn't want us to learn Spanish because it was shameful to be here in the United States to speak Spanish. And that's really where it comes from. Like, our parents really trying to train us to not be hurt when we actually go out in the real world and we're faced with those realities of it.
Even like, it's not even them trying to protect us, it's them trying to protect themselves too. You know what I mean? Like, you're a kid, they're like, fuck, I'm undocumented, like, I need to do what I gotta do to survive. So it's like, they're protecting you, but they're probably the ones living with fear at the moment. You know, as uno de niño, pues uno nunca sabe, pero ya de adulto, pues es el que tiene que trabajar, el que pues le puede pasar las cosas. And I feel like I don't know. You made a good point because now that you said that, I do remember when I was getting bullied in first, second grade for being Mexican. You remember how I said that there was like a time where I kind of concealed it?
Yeah.
I remember maybe third to fifth grade, I was was trying to be as whitewashed as possible because I was like, bitch, I was getting
You're not going to catch me, bitch. Yeah.
I was getting made fun of because I didn't know English. So now that I know it, I'm going to fucking be the most fucking American person that you could.
No, it really was that. Even
America, literally. I'm like, how does it go, bitch?
I don't even know. No, but even then, my mom would never like make us wear like anything that, unfortunately, like the way that it sounds very like fucked up, but it's not fucked up because it's like that's the type of like protection that they try to put our parents so like we can never get discriminated. And that's why I always hate when people are always like, oh, you're an Osavo kid or you're whitewashed, or it's like, girl, like I didn't choose to be this. I got forced to be this type of person because I didn't want to get bullied, or I didn't want to be able to have someone attack me because of who I am. Like, I'm so sorry. I tried to live a Caucasian life.
I'm sorry, I'm white. No, you know what's so funny that I'm thinking about now? Like, maybe I'm just like speaking out of my ass. Maybe it's because I'm Mexican and no other race and I can't relate to any other race. But I do feel like a lot of like the government, a lot of, the people that have something bad to say about immigrants or immigration, it's more towards Mexican immigrants.
For sure.
It's like you never see someone like, go back to France. Go back to Britain. Like, it's more... Well, maybe there is, because we're not Britain, we're not freaking French. But it's always, like, the immigration thing, it's always more towards, like, the minorities, like, the Mexicans. Like, maybe even people, like, the Arabs, or, like, people that are, like, minorities. And that is where it's... seems fucked up, because it almost seems like, oh, you're from France, cool, or you're from this, like, oh, you're from Mexican, wetbag. You're from Mexican, like, immigrant, illegal. Like, it just sounds worse. So I feel like growing up, like you said, it almost made you feel like you had to kind of like
be somebody else.
Thankfully for me as a kid, like my parents never kind of like put that on me because they've always been super Mexican. But I know what you mean. Your mom's young. She got here super young. She got here at the age, 17? So she was able to americanizarse ella sola y bien. My parents were here 30, 40. It was like, girl, like you're who you are. So to me, it was very much like I would try, like from 3rd to 5th grade, I would try to be like gringo vibes, pero no me cabía. I think it wasn't until when I went to high school where you're like, fuck, you know what? All the people that know that I'm undocumented, all the people that would make fun of me are probably going to other schools. That's when I started having a clean slate. Like I was like, okay, I don't need to tell them that I'm undocumented. They don't need to know, because a lot of it's like it's
not important.
I'm a normal.
I'm a normal human.
It sounds fucked up.
It shouldn't be like be like literally the label, or like it shouldn't.
I just feel like there shouldn't
you from anything.
Yeah, I just feel like there shouldn't be labels. I'm like, I'm such a softie. No, like in real, no. Like I feel like I just that should be what it is. Alrighty, y'all. So ya terminamos. I feel like I got really fucking drunk.
I feel like every single time I come on your guys' podcast, it's like therapy.
Yeah, it really is. This is really therapy every night.
Literally.
I feel like I also have a lot of things to say, but I feel like I need to like ease into it. Like this is new. Like I don't know how you guys are gonna react. So just let me know if you guys want me to come up again, or if you guys want me to do more story times about my undocumented life.
Because there's a lot of stories, girl.
There's a lot.
When Danny found out, that's a funny story.
Like how you came to the United States.
For a long time, how I blamed my mom.
How you were about to get papers.
Literally, like
there's a lot.
There's a lot, and
This is a new journey that we're so excited that you're so open about, because I have always been so open about my life, but about my undocumented life, but I have never seen you like this excited for you to open up about your status, and this is a new journey that is just gonna be even better for you,
And I'm excited and I'm scared because you never know how fucking people are gonna react. But
I'm like, chingue su madre, at the end of the day, I am illegal.
Chingue su madre, se me quieren llamar la mira, llámenle que yo aquí los espero. I'll take me. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
Alrighty, you guys.
Guys, like, honestly, thank you so much for watching this episode. Hopefully you enjoyed it so fucking much. Once again, don't forget to follow all of our social medias.
At Call Me Danny.
At XO.
And at Alannized.
Don't forget to comment down below your favorite part. Come back up, click that like button and that subscribe button. And we'll see you guys
in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye.